Good afternoon, Top fans. It's Bill from Top Fan Rivalry. I've got a new guest in the clubhouse and a new friend of mine named Christopher. I got a chance to meet him in Fullerton a week or so ago at a Tommy Lasorda museum event at the Fullerton Museum. And we're going to talk all about that and what they're doing and all about Christopher. He's a fantastically interesting guy, and we're going to have him on for a number of segments. So if you miss a portion of this, you're going to want to come back and see it again. Christopher, how are you doing this morning?
Doing really great. How about you, Bill?
I'm doing excellent. So tell me how your love of what you do and sports all started.
Well, I grew up in a family of five boys, no girls, and both my parents were a product of Italian immigrants, and the thing that was emphasized in the Italian culture was family. You know, you all stick together. And so my mom really insisted that us boys stay together and do things together. I mean, we had our differences, but growing up in this nucleus of five boys, Dad really wanted to make sure that we were introduced to sports. And in particular, he would point out those athletes that were Italian American heritage. And so I grew up with that mindset. Italian immigrants trying to make something of themselves here in the new country. You know, you could look at Joe DiMaggio, and there's a prime example. He wanted to show that Italian Americans could achieve at a high level. So growing up in that atmosphere, we were always kind of competitive, you know, just like it is in sports. We played games all the time. Boy, during the summer it was great. But it wasn't until I was 15 that my younger brother was taking a art class during the summer, and he came home and he says, "Hey, I have to do this drawing. I have to look at something and then draw it." Mine turned out better than his. And he goes, "That's the last time I ask you to draw with me." And then what I ended up, I go, "Well, you know, doggone, let me try something else." And there was a newspaper article on the Disney company, and there was this big giant Mickey Mouse. And I go, "Well, I'll try to draw that." So I still have this today. So here's my drawing that I did at age 15. Which was kind of ironic because he's wearing a red sweater and blue slacks. My mom, ever the creative lady, she decided we were all going to wear these golf sweaters and blue slacks to mass every Sunday for a couple of years, and which drove the priest crazy because he was a golfing addict, and he goes, "Don't wear those golf sweaters. I can't concentrate." But that was the beginning. I always wanted to then. I started thinking about product. Grew up watching the original Mickey Mouse Club, which had segments on there that talked about careers. Well, this was a career. I could be an artist, you know, maybe with Disney. So I kept on pursuing that and trying to draw more characters and things like that. The key thing in that was whether I didn't realize what I was doing. I was emulating the Disney animators who used shapes in order to create the characters. So that's the basis of anything. So when I do my drawing and when I do my paintings, I'm looking at shapes. I'm not necessarily looking at, you know, an eye. So fast forward, I get through 2 years of art in high school. Had a great teacher in that he was also the tennis coach, and he asked me, "Well, what do you like?" And I said, "Well, I like sports." And I was also involved with the athletic department as a student trainer. So I was learning first aid. And that was another choice I had. Could I get close to sports as being an athletic trainer? Yeah, I could do that on the college level. I could do it on the pros. So I graduated and I went and talked to a friend of his who was an outstanding illustrator. And he gave me some great advice. He says, hey, look at, you're going to get lots of information, take in what you like, throw out what you don't, and you're going to have your own style. So I'm doing some really great projects during school. And the athletic director for San Diego City College, where I was attending, came into my teacher and he said, hey, do you have anybody that could do some covers for our an invitational, a track invitational? Yeah, I got this kid here. He loves sports. And that was it. I got to do that. And I also got to do the cover for their football season and graduated, got a job at an architect office, one of the largest firms in San Diego. Left it for a couple of years before they lost their financial backing. And then a friend of mine decided, she says, why don't you go to, college and try to get a bachelor's degree because you have an AA degree. And so I went to Cal State Fullerton. And so I was up there for a year, and it was nice. I really enjoyed that time up there. Boy, did they have a baseball team and a half. I mean, and I was real close to the field and where I was living. So I could go and see games if I wanted. And then I came back down to San Diego State because I really wanted to focus in another direction. And I went in to speak with the athletic information director. And I said, hey, I did this thing for City College. What do you think? Would you guys like to use me? And he said, well, we just use photographs, but just a second. He picks up the phone and talks with somebody. And then he hands me a note and he says, here, you're gonna give these guys a call. And it was Jim Weigel and Mike Ryan with the Padres, the sports information director and promotion director. And I gave him a call to set up a meeting. And wow, they said, come back in July. We'll start our work for the next season. And I ended up getting the job to do their media guide covers and their program cover. The program cover was the same cover the whole season long. So if you had a cover on their program, it was the whole season. And then that was 77. 78, the Padres get the All-Star game. And so they come to me and they said, hey, we got a bunch of work to do. And I had just gotten married in January. And this is what I got to do. I got to do the cover of the 78 All-Star game. Not only did I do that, there was illustrations all throughout. I did a painting for every team that was going to be a gift from Mr. Kroc, the owner of the Padres. He liked them so much. He goes, no, we're your offices. And so that was the start. I mean, it was then just I tell you, Bill, it was one thing after another where I would get some kind of connection with some company. And I was doing posters for a company called Sports Calendars Incorporated. They were out of San Rafael. And just happened that a friend of my parents had suggested that I contact this company that made collector plates, and there was a little cute little puppy, and I started a series about a little boy and his dreaming of becoming something, and I fashioned it after my idol Norman Rockwell. I mean, Rockwell was the thing I wanted to be like Norman Rockwell, and so I met with her and everything, and she's in their shipping department, and she notices one of my posters that I had done for the Angels, that company, and she pointed up to it. She said, "Hey, you got Chris's work up there." He goes, why didn't you tell me this guy did sports art? I've been wanting to do something with the Hall of Fame. So he contacted me, and then through some of my contacts that I had, we were able to secure Reggie Jackson, and that was the
Nice.
first contemporary sports personality on a porcelain collector plate. It went on, I did a number of other ones, including this one here of Willie Mays, and this one's actually autographed right to me, which is always what a big thrill to get that. And I became known for that guy that started that thing. All the other companies that followed wanted their art to do things like me. And I'm thinking it's just the way I want to do it, you know? So
Right.
it was through that I ended up meeting this guy by the name of Paul Tocco, and his mom was a manager of a collectible store in La Jolla. And he said, man, I got to meet this guy. And so we set it up for him to meet me at a Padre game. I was going to be shooting some players for a future project. And that started a relationship that we ultimately started putting out a magazine on sports collecting as a price guide. And that was called Legend Sports Memorabilia Magazine. And here's one of the ones that we did. I did 42 covers for them.
Wow.
And this one was of Nolan Ryan that I got signed by Nolan, which is a big thrill. And that's the other thing. I mean, I'm a sports artist, but I'm also a sports fan. And to get things autographed or to get to meet these guys was just a huge thrill. So that kind of brings you into what I was doing and how this all started happening.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be. I mean, being a sports fan myself, it's gotta be one of those things that just gets you up. It gets you excited. So tell me, this is phenomenal, but tell me, you've got something going on this week. Tell me what you got going on this week.
Well, a year ago, I have a good friend who had put on an exhibit on Italian Americans in baseball. But he had it as an art and photography segment of who does this kind of work. And so the artists and the photographer were Italian American. So it's that strong connection. And his name is Roberto Angati. And he's, so he has this thing set up that he was going to have an exhibit down in San Diego at Convivio Society, which is a Italian American heritage group. And I saw it on Facebook and I said, wait a minute, I'm here in San Diego. Why aren't you having me? I'm the official artist for the San Diego Hall of Champions. I'm Italian American. Come on. I do their Hall of Fame.
Exactly.
And so I called up the guy and he says, well, come on down on Saturday. Roberto's coming in and bring your portfolio. So I did, and I spread it out on this table, and Roberto showed up and he took a look at it and he said, that's it. I'm throwing out all these other things. We're going to make you the focus of that exhibit. And so when this idea for a Tommy Lasorda Day in Fullerton came up, he suggested to the mayor and other dignitaries, hey, look at, I've got this friend, let me check with him, see if he's done Tommy Lasorda. I had done Tommy Lasorda for the National Italian American Sports Hall of Fame, Chicago, where I'm the official artist, and I did the covers for their magazine. And so I said, look, I have this painting in existence. I can adjust it, make some changes to it, to whatever you need. I can do this in Photoshop, and let's see what we can come up with. So they all agreed. At the same time, they were also coordinating with the city of Tola, Italy. This is the town that Tommy's parents immigrated from to Pennsylvania, which ironically, he lived about 100 miles from where my parents grew up in Eastern Pennsylvania. And by the way, Tommy Lasorda is one of 5 boys. I'm one of 5 boys. His birthday, September 22nd. My baby brother, his birthday is September 22nd. I mean, it's just amazing, the connections. And the fact that back in early on in my career, with that 78 All-Star game, Mr. Kroc had me do a painting for Tommy Lasorda because he was the manager of the winning team. And I did that, and I was given the opportunity to present it to him. And I did a few in the dugout there at the ballpark, and I gifted him this painting on behalf of Mr. Kroc. And he said, "Will you tell Mr. Kroc I appreciate this gift, but I appreciate it more because it was done by a fellow Italian American." So that kind of spoke to that kind of connection that I had with Tommy Lasorda. So this came up, we did it, and let me pull up the poster that we did. And this poster is still available, and it will be available at the event that's coming up this Thursday, the second annual Tommy Lasorda Day, and the sister city of Tola, Italy, where his parents are from. So congratulations to Roberto for pulling that off. So
now, how much is this? How much is this poster?
I believe they have it at, don't correct me, I think it's something like $10 or $20. Yeah. And it's a limited edition. It's signed by me, and you'll be able to also have an opportunity to buy some of my things that are Dodge related or just related.
Okay, so
I'm excited about doing that. They're also going to have an artist in focus session with me, so people can learn about my career and my connections with Tommy Lasorda, which has been a big thing.
Top fans, those of you that are listening, let me make sure that I get this straight, because Christopher and I met a couple weeks ago. He is a phenomenal, not only a phenomenal artist, but a phenomenal person. I got a chance to spend 45 minutes with him total out of a 2-hour event. It was great. We laughed, we kind of chatted a little bit. He's going to be at the Fullerton Museum on Thursday. They're actually shutting the streets down for this Tommy Lasorda Day. That is at 301 North Pomona Avenue in Fullerton. Okay, here's what I would recommend you top fans that are listening. If you are in Southern California, you're a Dodger fan, even if you're just a sports fan, come down, check it out. First of all, that Tommy Lasorda thing that he just put up, buy one, 10, 20 bucks, whatever it is, buy one. And what I might do, Christopher, is I might buy a couple extras from Top Fan and just use them as giveaways to people. If you'll sign a few extras of them, I might use them for Dodger fans for giveaways. But please come check out what Christopher's doing. This is a phenomenal thing. And so I wanted to mention that before I ask you our last question to this segment. Christopher, as I've gotten to know you, I've realized one thing. I would describe you as probably a very passionate individual for what you do. And I love that, because I'm passionate for what I do. Do you still have the same passion today as you did when you drew that Mickey Mouse?
It's probably, I hate to use that term because it's a negative term in sports. It's like that same passion on steroids. I think you knew where I was going with that.
Yeah.
It is just, I mean, you get me in a conversation about sports or art, and it's going to be the same thing. Again, I go back to what my dad taught us, was to really analyze the game, watch it in a way that you're not just a casual fan. Understand what the game within the game. And it's the same thing in art. I mean, I've achieved things in art in a very competitive market because I look at my competition. I want to know what people are looking for. And I try to put out something that's different, something that's better. And that's how it works. Yeah. I mean, if you watch me this Saturday, watch the Notre Dame game. I've been watching Notre Dame, football since I was a kid. And I'm just getting so upset. Like, come on, guys, you know how to run that play. And second half, they turned it around. They started running and started executing the same play over and over again because it was working. I mean, come on.
Right.
I'm always looking for that edge, and I always look for opportunities to do. And when we have future discussions, I'll talk about those other opportunities that I'm getting to do, things like with the San Diego Zoo and stuff.
So Christopher, you got to imagine, one of my good friends lives in Ohio, and he is the Ohio State University fan. His wife is a huge Notre Dame fan. So you can imagine what it was like in their house a week and a half ago, right?
Yeah.
And he told me, he called me up, he goes, Bill, I hope that it's a blowout on either side. It doesn't matter. I hope it's a blowout. And I said, I hope it comes down to the last 14 seconds and somebody wins by 3. And he goes, there will be divorce lawyers on the phone if that's the case. He goes, I'm looking for a blowout. I'm like, yes, you are. But top fans, please, I'll tag Christopher's information in this when we post this tomorrow. If you're in Fullerton, the event runs from 4 to 7. I'll be there at 4 o'clock. Look for me.
Actually, it runs from 4 to 9, Bill.
Oh, 4 to 9. I'm
4
sorry.
to 9. Yeah.
I was given bad information.
Plenty of opportunity to come by and meet me, talk with me. If you have some Legends magazines, you want to get the covers autographed, please come on down. If you've got little kids, I've got little cards that I'll autograph for them, it's a great event. They're going to have vendors and stuff like that, and it's free to get into the major event. They're going to have a round table. I think that's going to be a ticket for that. But other than that, it's a great opportunity. See, a great exhibit. I got 10 pieces of art in that exhibit, which I'm proud of. And just come out and enjoy the legacy of Tommy Lasorda. Enjoy what made Tommy Lasorda a great manager, great coach, and just a great individual.
Absolutely. And I'll be there too. Look for me in the Top Fan Rivalry hat. I'll be walking around. I'll be hanging out with Christopher for a little bit of time. I hear that there's some former players. We won't drop names here, but there's at least one former player that will be there. So I will be pushing this a lot on Twitter and Instagram over the next couple of days.
Go to the Fullerton Museum Center website. You get all the information as well.
Yes, and I'll tag that. But please, this is a phenomenal community thing. If you're in Orange County, or if you're in LA, or if you're in San Diego area, and it's right by downtown too. So if you want to come in, you want to see the event, you want to go have dinner, it's a great date. It's a great hangout thing. But I'd love to have you around. Christopher, stay online for a second after we stop here. But I want to tell everybody that this is the heart of a gold individual. This is the salt of the earth individual. I've enjoyed my conversations with Christopher that I've had so far, and he's got so much history. And as you know from Top Fan Rivalry, we're all about covering, all 30 teams are all about covering the history of it. And so we will have him on more so that we can talk more of his history, because we haven't even scratched the surface yet, folks. But Christopher, thank you for coming on today, talking a little bit about your history and talking about the event that's coming on this Thursday.
My pleasure, Bill. I look forward to seeing you, and then having more opportunities to talk with your fans.
Yes, we'll talk soon. Thanks, my friend.
All right. Bye now.